Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV. And hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and this is a brand new show. It's sort of a continuation from another show, but it's all new because it's 2022. Our show is fashion, travel, and leisure. And continuing this journey with me is the lovely, beautiful, and talented expert in all things fashion, travel, and fitness, Diann Floyd Boehm. Let's bring her out. Hi, Diann.
Hi, great to see you. Love your hat.
Woo, thank you. We were just talking on the last show, the UK show, about hats, and you were saying how much you love wearing hats, and I thought, let me don a hat and see how I feel. I feel very different right now.
And you look very chic.
Thank you. Well, I'm loving the new background, I have to say, and a big shout out again to Daphne DeLucci from Roar Media Creative for putting it together. And I'm loving your living room as well.
Oh, it is so spacious, right?
It is. It is. By the way,
I can't wait to have your background.
Do you play the piano?
Not really. I didn't get I always wanted to, but 5 brothers, lots of mouths to feed. By the time I received a piano, God bless my grandmother and my mom and dad, I was already in college. So, I started getting it down, and then life took over, and what do you say? But I'm actually now, we lost the piano in the flood, which is very sad. But my husband gave me for Christmas a keyboard, and it's a really gorgeous one. And so I'm starting all over. And so everybody out there, you can do it too.
Congratulations. That's excellent.
Yeah. Do you play? Your dad played, right?
I play also.
Oh,
believe it or not. Yeah.
You don't have to say also. I'm not in the also category.
Wow, no, I can't play like he played, but I do play. I took lessons for 10 years, and we have a beautiful piano here, and I get to play it every now and then when I'm not behind the green screen.
Oh, you just said the title of your book, Behind the Green Screen, and I think that's where I learned that you played the piano.
Oh.
Excuse me. Because you mentioned your dad and how much you enjoyed listening to him. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting.
Yes. And, somewhere I have a clip that I actually play on one of the shows one day. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why you have a good musical ear, and you can enjoy singing as well.
I do love to sing. I love fashion very much. I like to travel. I love fitness, and I like to sing. So let's just talk a little bit for people who are watching for the first time about our show. Again, it's fashion, travel, and fitness. And each week we will be coming to you live with some topic that falls into that category. And we'd also love to hear from you, from the audience. We do have an in-house travel expert for USA Global TV. Her name is Sandy Adams. She's already booked to come back in February. We'd love to have a fashion expert and a fitness expert as well, because you and I are really, we can nail both of those areas. But it would also be nice to have other people come on and and
The
share,
experts.
yeah, and share with us what they're doing and what they're seeing in terms of trends coming out of Paris, which we love. And we have
Mhm.
our friends, Anthe, who she has her own line of clothing. And we have
Mhm.
other guests who've been on here who are also in the fashion world. And we interviewed somebody, Marcus, remember him?
Yeah, of course, he was
He
fabulous.
was amazing, amazing.
Mhm.
So that's what you can expect on this show. We're going to be talking about trends when it comes to fashion and some areas of suggestions for fitness, which I have one today. We've talked about it before, and also where we can travel and maybe combine fashion and fitness.
Yeah, that's true. And when it comes to fashion, we're not just referring to clothing, perfume, hats, gloves,
Yes,
nails,
all of it.
eyelashes,
Love all of that. So
shoes, right?
oh my
I,
gosh, shoes. You know what's so funny, Diann? I think I mentioned this. I did a photo shoot last week and I put on my giant high-heeled shoes and I it was hard to walk in them because when you're so used to wearing
flats.
slippers or sneakers or flats, but it felt good. There's something about putting on a pair of high heels, really high heels, that you just feel like, wow, I gotta walk the talk right now.
Well, you wear super high heels. You're like my mom, stilettos all the way. As soon as I stopped modeling, I was like, give me those low heels. But I will say, once I put on any style heel, I just feel different. I feel beautiful. I can look really ugly, but I feel beautiful. And even if I'm wearing my typical white shirt with a scarf and a pair of really cool jeans, and I put on a pair of heels with them, I just feel totally different than when I put on my flats.
Absolutely. And I think it makes your legs look different. And
Mhm.
I wear all skirts
Mhm.
or dresses. I don't wear pants anymore. And I know we talked on the last show about jeans. I stopped wearing jeans when they stopped making them out of denim. And I found out you could buy now it's like stretch material. And I thought nobody wants to see me that stretched out for
You know, I'll tell you a side note, and hopefully the audience will enjoy it because I am a storyteller. Um,
Yes.
so I have 5 brothers, right? And I grew up in a very sheltered world, even though I had 5 brothers. And when I was going to college, which was just a junior college that I could actually walk to from home, I noticed people weren't, the girls were wearing jeans, and I was like, I am a dress girl. Even to this day, I'm like you, Dr. Jacalyn. I much prefer a skirt or a dress or something. It's just who I am. But I thought, I need to get with it. I'm gonna take some of my babysitting money and I'm gonna go buy me a pair of jeans. So I went over to a store. It was called Wieners at the time, and I bought a pair of jeans. And I bought this midriff top, so it showed a little bit of your tummy. Oh, God forbid. And anyway, so my mama was horrified. So she must have called my daddy. And then they got on the phone and called my brother. My oldest brother's a lot older than I. And the next thing I knew, I came home and there was a family intervention. Seriously, Dr. Jacalyn, can you believe that? A family intervention. And it was my parents wanted to know where they went wrong that I would wear a pair of jeans. Now, you have to remember, my daddy came from Oklahoma, and he was around a lot of farm people. He was not a farmer. His dad wasn't a farmer, but during the Depression age, Daddy would do anything to help the family get some money. So he would mow farms and stuff. So jeans were considered farmers' material. And when you were able to go from jeans to wearing a pair of khakis, you were considered high class. And so for my dad, it was horrible to think that his daughter would be wearing farm material instead of something classy. He was working too hard for that. So don't you find that interesting?
Wow, that is really interesting, Diann. An interesting perspective. So what
Yeah.
did you do? Did you continue wearing the jeans?
Well, I explained to them that if that was the only thing they had to worry about, because my brother was causing a lot of problems, that they were very lucky. Oh, I turned the tables around.
See,
Aren't I a horrible sister?
good for you. Pass it on to someone else. Leave me alone. I'm wearing my jeans. Yikes.
No. So
So, but you
I
don't
got
wear
to wear my
jeans
jeans.
today?
I do have a few pair of jeans, but I'm like you, Dr. Jacalyn. If you wear the stretchy stuff, you grow into them and it stretches more.
Yeah.
And there's something about a nice pair of slacks that fit really well and hang well. Again, with a nice pair of shoes or a pair of boots, if it's wintertime, that you just feel you feel feminine. But for me personally, I love the 1940s style clothes, and if I can get a seamstress to make dresses for me in the 1940s, that style just hangs really well because they have darts, they have pleats in the sense that they fit your particular body.
Yes.
And I like that better than just a straight line that anybody can wear. Because if you wear just a straight line, again, you're growing into it. You don't have a waistline. And so, anyway,
That's very
that's,
true.
yeah.
You know, Diann, you can't actually see this jacket, but this jacket, this is an Armani. It's
It's
I don't know if you can
beautiful.
see the detail work. Yeah, you can see it,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this I think is from the 90s
Mm.
and it's fitted. It's double breasted. And when you get down to the waist area, not quite what it used to be when I got it. Let's just put it like that, okay? And I'm not happy about that because the point was that, and again, not a paid spokesperson, but these suits that I have that are Armani from decades ago, they're so well made. They're timeless as long as you can
Mhm.
fit your body into them. And when you can't, you take them to a vintage store so somebody else can keep wearing. And also these earrings, I don't know if you can see them or not.
Yeah, I love them.
They're Dior. These are also
Mhm.
from the 90s.
Mhm.
So I've just taken really good care of my things over time. And I feel so elevated. Like I just feel so much better
Mhm.
in when I'm dressed up and with the lipstick on and having your nails
Mhm.
done. Like when my nails are not perfect and they have like little marks on them, it's very upsetting.
Oh, goodness. Well, I can't say that about my nails because I like to dig in the mud in the garden and so forth.
So you're a hands-on person.
Absolutely. And I even discovered when I started taking art classes when I was living in Dubai that the art instructor we must have her on the show sometime. She's phenomenal. She's actually very famous in France. And she discovered that I was she has you work in different mediums, and that way she can discover what really is touching your soul so that you're very heart centered. And anyway, so she said, "You love doing your hands." And I go, "Oh yeah, I played in the mud ever since I was a kid." So before I knew it, I was making a lot of pictures with my fingers and loved it.
Well, there is something to be said about having your fingertips available to you to do different things. And I know through the course of my life, until I got, I'm 58 now, so maybe till I was 57, my nails would grow so long, Diann. I mean, they would be gigantic nails, and you
Mhm.
really can't do a lot. I remember going through the Pennsylvania Turnpike decades ago, and the woman working in the toll. This is before the Easy Pass, the toll collector, her nails were like they were like hooks, and I didn't even know she could go in and get that change, but she got that change to give to you. Of course, that's when it was change, now.
She just flicked it out with the
Yeah,
finger.
here you go.
Yeah, my mom could grow nails like that. I was never blessed like that, but there's something about beautiful hands and beautiful nails. So um, there's, um, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the product, but there's a product that really takes care of your hands so that when you 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 put this balm on it. It'll keep the moisture right inside. So you do the moisturizer, and then you put this balm on it, and it
Hmm.
helps stay on it even longer. But you reminded me, we had a guest on, and I would love to have her back on our new platform. And she talked about how to take care of your jewelry. I found that fascinating.
Oh yes, she has a line of jewelry, and is she in the UK?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah, I think she
so.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to get her back.
we definitely do, because that's really important. I wanted to say one thing about nails, because I feel like over time, and I'm not that knowledgeable about it today. I was at some point. I used to go and have my nails done, but not for a long time. But there were trends in nails in terms of whether it was acrylic, and then they went to something else where you put your hands under something, and then they went to like nails that were pointed, like coffin nails or something. There's all kinds of trends that, if you look in the magazines like Vogue, for example, and you can see these, and I think a lot of them are press on as well.
Yeah, there's some incredible press on now, and that's another good guest to have on. And pre-COVID, and also living in Dubai, it was a lot cheaper to get your nails done all the time. So I was going every other week. Not so much now. I'm trying to be more keeping in my pod, so to speak.
Yes.
I want to stay healthy. But anyway, I loved it where people would on their pinky would do a little piece of art, and there was like, little stones, right? And I
Yes.
noticed now what a lot of people are doing is they'll do all, but this finger will have a different color on it, and then all the rest will be together.
I've
So
seen that now that you mentioned that. Somebody had
yeah,
blue, but nothing else on the rest, and I thought maybe they were trying out the color, but maybe that's a trend.
yeah, maybe so. I don't know if I'd have blue. Blue fingers. I think you're cold.
Yeah, exactly. Well, way back in the day in the 80s, because I know where I was working at the time, I had acrylic nails, but I had them airbrushed.
Oh
So
yes.
they were like this long, and I had tiger stripes. And the
Hmm.
funny thing is, I was in sales, but I was in a conservative job, and I was always in a suit, and I was really conservative with these nails. And my boss was like, "What is going on with your nails?" And I said, "What can I tell you? I just like them." And I have pictures of it, and I look back and I think that was not professional.
But we had this one guest, and she was amazing, speaking about style and how to dress for your particular job. Do you remember her? And
Yes.
she was phenomenal, had a lot of passion. And I loved how she said that, for example, how you are right now, you're carrying off that hat really well. So, if you can be in a conference center like I would do sometimes, and I make sure I have a hat on so people go, follow the lady with the hat,
Yes.
something that brings you to your clothing. I loved that. And so for me, I love suits are lovely, but and when I'm in that business mode or I'm getting ready to do a speech or something, but I'll probably have on a lacy blouse or something frilly because that's who I am. So,
No, I love that, and I like when the lace comes out of here and then when it comes
yeah.
out, from the jacket
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So nice, so
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I wanted to talk about another trend that has to do with fitness and just get your thoughts on it. And it's nothing new. It's nothing new, but it really does change your body if you do it on a regular basis, and it's called a plank. So you're familiar with the plank?
Yes. From yoga.
Yeah, and do you do a plank at all?
I used to. I was up to 5 minutes, which is probably nothing to you, but
That's amazing.
I have to start all over again. I I am blaming everything. When I was pregnant, I blamed everything on my pregnancy. Now I'm blaming everything on COVID, my COVID hips. But I am getting started again. But anyway, talk about the importance of a plank.
What I love about the plank is that you can do it on your elbows or you can do it on your hands. And depending on what your situation is with your wrists, you can always roll your wrists out. But it works your entire body if you do it in the proper form. So, if you can imagine you're on your knees or you're on your toes and you're on your elbows or you're on your hands. And I like to set up a timer because I'm nuts. And I like to have one phone has the timer and the other phone has some music. And I'll just look down, close my eyes, and then just keep going. And when I start shaking, which is like second stage muscle failure, I know I'm actually really making a difference.
Absolutely. And the plank is important. And I must share with you another funny quick story. So I'm on Emirates Airline, which is phenomenal, and I'm on the in the business section. Thank you, Fulbright, for paying for that. And anyway, my daughter's like, who has is in health and wellness, right? And she has Yes You. So she's like, Mom, you need to make sure you walk. And of course I was. And she goes, and I want you to do the plank. So I have a picture of me in this Emirates airline, the high class area where everybody goes and has a drink and everything. And I have the waiter take a picture of me doing the plank in my skirt on Emirates.
That's pretty funny.
But I did my 5 minutes. I could turn it into my coach, Rachel, and say, okay, I did it.
Good for you. You know what? I remember being in an airport and somebody was actually doing yoga poses there and somebody else was doing like cartwheels. I don't think you can do anything where you could possibly hit someone, but
Yeah,
why not? Go wash your hands, obviously, afterwards.
right.
But when you are traveling, you have to be able to do something.
Right, right. You can't just sit there. It's not healthy for you. And I think I mentioned to you, but I hope to have a guest soon for us from the stretch zone. And I started going there, and they they work your muscles. And so because of COVID, some of us have been sitting more than what we normally do, or maybe we sit a lot just because the computer has us do that. Um, Though you can now get the stand-up, desks. Have you seen those, Dr. Jacalyn? The
I
stand-up
definitely
desk?
have. Yep.
Yeah, they're phenomenal, right? And actually, Rachel has one where she walks while she types. I don't know how she does it, but have you seen that one?
I have seen it actually, and I wanted to purchase it in a different scenario when I was in the corporate world because
Yeah.
basically I think you can walk up to 2 miles an hour. So just imagine your computer and you're walking, so you can do both at the same time, and
Mhm.
it does burn calories. Where that's the thing, like. I mentioned before that sometimes I'll just grab a granola bar because it's easy. So it's 100 calories. Well, if I
Mhm.
eat, two or three of them a day, so bad, which I don't, but that's an extra 2 or 300 calories. How are you going to get rid of that?
Mhm. So
So
if you're walking, you can do that,
yeah,
but you're also being productive.
you don't have to leave and go anywhere.
Right, right. But back to your airport thing too. Just what I learned from the stretch zone is if you just look, this is supposed to be like this, by the way. If you just go like this and then like this, you're getting your back in shape so that it you because we slowly start hunching. So just doing something like that and then like this, you're in good shape. I don't know why holes are important now in clothing, but anyway, they are.
And something else that's nice to do, I like to, because we use our hands so much, I
Mhm.
like to take my hands like this, but behind my back.
Oh, that's good to get your posture back up.
Yep. And do you feel the pain in your hand? Like my wrists are going, what?
Yeah, but also it's just like your back, because as I told you, I just started the stretch zone maybe 3 weeks ago. So for everyone watching, you lay on this table and it's 357. So they'll see you tell them the first time you feel like it kind of is hurting a little bit. So maybe you can only do your leg to here and you say 3. And then they hold it and bring it back down. And then they go, okay, next time we're going to go a little bit deeper. And it's going to be, tell me when it's a 5. And so then you say 5. And so maybe you can only get up to here, but eventually they're going to get it where you're at a 90-degree angle. And they work with all your different muscles. And one of them, for me, I didn't realize I was starting to slouch because I think I have pretty good posture, but they really brought that to my attention. So I'm just like going through the house every time I see a door. I'm like, okay. So whatever it takes, but take care of those muscles. Discover that stretching is important. Anyway, hopefully we'll have a stretch zone expert on soon. And from there, you'll discover you'll be in great shape to do more. So, Dr. Jacalyn, I can't wait till I'm do what you do at that particular company. Can you tell them about that? It's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. And I keep saying I'm not a paid spokesperson, and I
Yeah.
wish that someone would pay me, but I go to something called Solid Core, and it's a takeoff, I believe, of Pilates, although I've never done Pilates. But it's a bench, and the bench is cut into 3 sections. There's a stable platform at either end, and in the middle is a carriage that moves back and forth. And off of the front of it, depending on where you're standing, there are places where you can attach springs, and there's white springs, gray springs, black springs, and blues, and one blue spring, and you can either put the spring on or take the spring off. So depending on whether you're working off the front of the platform, which is the black part of it, or the back, the carriage and the springs are either going to help you or they're going to challenge you. So each workout is very different. And there's also handlebars where you do elevated moves. So you're basically using the entire bench to do the workout. And there's music playing. They lower the lights so that it's got sort of like this blue fluorescent thing going on. And you do your workout. The coach talks nonstop for 50 minutes, literally nonstop. That's part of their whole thing.
Wow.
And it's quite an experience. And last night I completed my 100th class at this particular studio, and altogether I have, I think, close to 340 classes.
That is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
Incredible.
you. Well, I couldn't go for 18 months because of COVID. So
Yeah.
if I could have gone, I would be like at 500 or 600 right now. But it really, and now here's the thing about that. I have to do more than just that because I use my Apple Watch, which tells me how many calories I'm burning, and I set it for 560. So I burn about 200 doing that. So you need to do something else. And that's one thing that I found when it comes to fitness, that during the pandemic, I was getting more cardio because I was in a lockdown situation. I had my trampoline, I had my bike, and now here I don't have any trampoline or bike. So I just go for walks, which, you know, and I already know this from the Apple Watch. I could walk 8 miles and burn 300 calories. So or do a trampoline for an hour and burn 600.
Right, exactly. But but still, for the audience, you do whatever you can do, but move. Absolutely move. But it is nice to do cardio and do muscle. It's important to do your muscles. So even if you're not a person, if you're like me and going to a workout place, which I used to do all the time, but don't anymore, just get those cans, the tomato soup, and just start lifting them, and you'll work your way up. And while you're stirring the pot and cooking, just do some squats in between.
Definitely.
just
And
move.
Diann, what we talked about from the beginning, the plank, because for the plank, you could just do it. Let's say you start out on your knees and your elbows. That's where you are. Okay. Then you can work your way up to your elbows and your toes. Then you can work your way up to your hands. Then you could do push-ups in between. You could do shoulder taps, and you could do plank up downs where you have one hand. So you're on both of your hands, right? So you drop down to your elbow, come push up on your hand, push up on your hand, then switch sides, left, right.
Wow. And now I'm being reminded, are you still offering exercise classes for people, or yoga?
Yeah. So actually my personal website, drjacalyn.com, it's being relaunched. I don't know if it's, I saw it, it's magnificent. I don't know if it's being relaunched today or tomorrow, but there is a section there for fitness. And I am teaching fitness classes going forward, which is also part of a package that I offer, which is another story, but it's one-on-one coaching, meditation, fitness, and also business seminars. So people can check that out on Eventbrite. but
Oh,
fitness is definitely part of it. Every week I teach a class, whether you're there or not, you can get the Zoom link.
you know what I love about you, and you're not paying me to say this, so everybody listening, I've only known Dr. Jacalyn for a year, but I'm amazed, Dr. Jacalyn, at what all you know so much. It's just mind-boggling, and you're a life coach, you're a business coach, you know how to take care of our bodies. I just think you're the whole package, and so if you're out there and you've made a New Year's resolution that you just really want to get back to figuring out who you are and what you bring to the world, I just really commend Dr. Jacalyn.
Oh, well, thank you, Diane. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. I was saying to my sister today that what I have learned about business, they don't teach you in school.
No.
They do not teach these things in school. And and again, this isn't about our topic today, but example, I needed the printer. We have two printers and both of them work, but neither one was working. So last night I thought, you know what? It's been a month and a half without any printer. I need this printer to work. So I just started researching like all the possible reasons why it wasn't working. And I mean, it was on, it was on the Wi-Fi, but it wouldn't print. So
Mhm.
anyway, finally, I just walked away from it and I came back and had printed out all the things that I wanted it to
It's like the angels came and printed it for you.
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, let her have the printer, let her have it." But my
No.
point is that there's so much that if a person has the desire and the initiative, there's so much that you can learn on YouTube or Mr. or Mrs. Google, whatever it is, but you actually have to have the focus and the determination. So for me, I try very hard to learn as much as I can. I'm very interested in learning things, whether or not I actually go down that path or not. I have certifications. I have businesses that I've had, like, did nothing with them, but I learned so much that I think
Mhm.
brought me to where I am today. And I'm still learning.
Right. And that's the beauty of life. I always think that you're blessed every time you're able to open your eyes in the morning. And whatever we can learn and to improve ourselves or to help everyone else is just, remarkable. So, what you're doing, I know for me personally, I'm old school in the sense that I was lucky enough to learn a lot from my dad in the garage. And, there's something to be said about dads, and there are still dads like this, but it seemed like the Depression kids, when by the time they became parents, they had to learn how to fix everything in order to survive because, you couldn't go out and just buy something. Luckily, back then things were made to last forever. My mother always wished that toaster would break and Daddy could fix it. But Daddy loved to tinker. So you know how televisions used to have. You might be too young.
Rabbit
They
ears.
had rabbit ears, and they also had the tubes in them and all this kind of
Yes.
stuff. And Dad would just pick up some. People who were getting rid of their TVs, he would just take it off their hands and he would undo one tube and put it in another. And before we knew it, we had another television or he fixed one if the dishwasher broke. And then, of course, him having his own company, vending machines, all of us learned how to feel very comfortable working with the machine. And the other thing Dad did was none of us, and I'm really speaking more about my older brothers, not my baby brothers. They were lucky. I think my parents retired by then. But anyway, we couldn't drive a car unless we understood, what a carburetor was, how to change a tire. Even though I wasn't strong enough, I had to understand the concept, how the tires work. Daddy made us learn all of that. Gaskets. We learned the parts. And what was fun about learning that wasn't so much was Dad wanted us to appreciate what we had and not just go, okay, here's your four wheels, enjoy your day. He wanted us to know that this was a car that could hurt someone else. So you need to be respectful when you're driving. And number two, if something breaks, you need to know what to do with it. So I cleaned batteries and everything else. And I was in shock when I found out that you could take Coca-Cola and it would eat away the acid on the battery. I was like, okay, maybe I won't. Oh,
That's, you know what, that's a real skill. There was a movie with Joe Pesci and I forget her name, and she knew everything about cars inside and out. And think about that, like think about not needing a mechanic and being able to diagnose what's going on with the vehicle and fix it. Like that's really cool.
yeah, it's really cool. But cars today are all about computers, so
Yeah.
it's a whole different world. But um, the fun thing about the cars of the older days before everything became computerized was you my brothers and his their buddies all could tinker all summer long fixing a car, and that was really cool. But
Well,
today
speaking of
we have a
cars,
computer.
yeah, it's all computerized.
Yeah.
Speaking of cars, my dad was a new car dealer, and he and my uncle had
Oh,
two dealerships. And
that's
when it comes
right.
to fashion, he was always dressed just so. He wore a three-piece suit, and he had a pocket watch that, with the chain. And I don't know, I know that vests, I don't think vests are in style anymore. I have no idea, but there's just something about that three-piece suit and
Oh,
and believe me, I know a lot of people who hate this, but the French cuffs with the
oh,
initials and the cufflinks, people
love
think,
it.
but I really like it. I really
I
like it.
love it. And that brings us back to fashion. So I really want this other guy to come on because he started his own men's clothing. He's out in DC. He started in Dubai, but now he's in DC. And it's all about the cufflinks and the ties and bringing back the tie clip and just really looking stylish. I noticed in the mall the other day that there was a men's store and they were bringing back hats for men. I was so excited. I was
Wow.
so excited. I actually went in and said, are men starting to wear hats? And they're like, I don't know, but our store is going to carry them for them, and the men are walking out with them. So
That's beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah,
so maybe
it's
there's
personal
hope.
style. And, Diann, I know I shared this with you and I have it somewhere around here, but I wore ties. Now I can't find it. I've worn ties over the years with cufflinks. I've got some
Mhm,
beautiful cufflinks that were my
mhm,
dad's, and I
mhm.
had a pair or two made by my friend Margie Cedrone, the jeweler. And there's something about wearing them. I don't know, with a pinstripe suit. And of course, now I'm not wearing them because I'm not doing that kind of work, but I just really love that kind of style.
It's when you wear that, it's like what you said earlier. When you walk in and you're in a business meeting and you walk in there, everybody knows they're going to take you, they're going to respect you, and they're going to listen to you. If you walked into the meeting and everyone else is in a suit and you have on your jeans with the holes in them and a cute blouse, they're like, seriously, why is she here? Is she bringing us
Right,
coffee?
right. But you know what, Diann? It's so interesting you said that. I want to just elaborate. And I'm really, and this is just putting it out there, but I'm really shocked sometimes when we have guests come on. And I think to myself, you're on television and you're wearing a t-shirt that's like the neck is, and you're in your bed. Like, I don't know. I don't understand personal style, personal etiquette that,
Mhm.
what are you putting out to the world? And I guess that's what you're putting out there.
Yeah, I the tech world, without saying any names, kind of helped bring that about.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But
So,
I think when it comes to fashion, it's great to have individual style and carry it off whichever way.
mhm,
I think there should be some minimum standards. I remember when I was in corporate, and it really changed over the decades, with the dress code. And the
mhm.
dress code was very formal and rigid, and it was, including pantyhose, stockings, slingback shoes. And there was a lot of pushback from people who didn't agree with it. A lot of creatives who, they wanted to have tattoos showing and piercings. And so they adopted, I guess, adopt or adapt, not sure, the dress code to,
Fit to style.
yeah, to fit the style. But there were still standards. In other words, they still had no sweatpants. I mean, when are sweatpants ever appropriate in a business setting, unless you're at a gym, you're a fitness instructor? And then isn't there a certain decorum of sweatpants? The ones with the elastic around the ankles? I don't know. Like if I'm hiring you as a fitness instructor and that's how you're dressed, I'm not judging, but I don't think it's professional.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think part of it comes to schools too. Schools don't have standards anymore. So if kids are allowed to come to school sloppy, how do you expect them to know etiquette? And it really goes back to Phil. I mean, I totally remember that it made the newspaper. You probably recall it too. It was during the Obama administration, and a school won some big giant state championship. Maybe it was the whole USA championship. And I think it was in tennis. And the girls showed up at the White House and they had open toe shoes and they were not dressed appropriately to meet the first lady. And there is certain etiquette, and they even have it on the website on how to dress for the White House, because it's stately. You don't go sloppy. And so they had to go get some clothes real quick if they wanted to meet the president and the first lady. So we need to let our kids know that there's a time and place for everything.
I agree with you. And I'm not sure if this still exists, but I remember back in the day, whenever that was, you would go to certain restaurants and the men needed to have a jacket and they would actually have jackets there.
Oh,
And
yes, that's right.
yeah, they would have jackets. And I remember a couple of times I was with somebody who didn't have a jacket and they made a big stink about it. I'm not putting that jacket on. They're like, well, you're not coming in. And then, put the jacket on and they're aggravated the whole time. So I don't know when it comes to dress codes. How do you feel about that, Diann? If you're paying money for a certain experience, should you be required to dress a certain way?
Yes, and you should know that if you're going to an elegant restaurant with white linen, white tablecloths, that there is a certain way you dress, and everyone else is doing this because they want that elegance. They want that special moment of evening. So it's not going to the pizza parlor.
It's true. And I've been out to dinner one time, I have to say, to a place where you sit outdoors and it's a small outdoor patio. And I went with my mother recently and I looked around and, not having been in a restaurant in a long time, it was really kind of surprising to see how people were dressed. There were actually older people who were very well dressed and other people who were just, they just came from, I don't know, the gym and you have the two different groups together.
Mhm, mhm.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I think we're living in the age of anything goes, but I think that's one reason I always enjoyed watching older movies, especially with my mom, and my husband enjoys them now as well. But Loretta Young, just to watch any of her movies, just to watch her clothing, she's always changing clothes, and you're like, oh wow. And the men, right? Or Cary Grant always
Mm.
dressed so stylish, right? So
By the way, and the women in the older movies, the waistlines are like 18 inches or 20 inches. I'm thinking they must have been starving themselves.
I asked my mom about that because she always wore belts constantly. And she goes, if you want to have a movie star's waist like Loretta Lynn, you never go without your belt. Your waist will stay intact. And
Thing.
she, before she passed, she had a 22-inch waist at 89.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, had it gotten bigger and then she went smaller or no?
Well, during her pregnancy, it got bigger, but
But she pretty much stayed very lean.
Mhm. There were moments that she really became very ill, about 20 years before she passed, and she gained weight, but we learned it was all due to a sickness. But once they were able to remove some masses, she went back to her belts. And of course, as um, the audience, I said on another show before, she was an avid swimmer, but like, I mean, she must have had over 100 belts.
And belts are one of the things I stopped wearing.
I don't wear a belt. My mother's
I don't
always
wear
getting
them
on to
anymore.
me, right? Though
Yeah,
I
because
do love the chain belt. Remember
yes.
when um, the A-line straight came in, but you wore a chain? Now I'm really
Definitely.
dating myself with your go-go boots.
No, I have the boots and I have the chains, not here, but chain belts, that is,
Chain
chain
belts,
belts.
yeah.
Yeah. They
So,
were a lot of fun. But it does seem like as we get older that the tendency is for the waistline to get larger no matter what we try to do.
what we
So I
try to do.
wonder back then, like even with your mom, like how do you keep your waist so small?
But I don't know. She just kept that belt on, and for some reason that did it. And my great grandmother shared apparently that tip with her as well. And so great grandma, grandma, and my mom were all belt people.
You know what makes sense about it, Diane, is if you wear a belt and you're eating and it starts to feel tight, you're going to stop eating
Right.
because you're
Unless
in
you let it out.
yeah, unless you
Yeah.
let it out. But then that mark where it was is
Yeah.
going to show, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think maybe that's what I need to do.
I don't think do I have any belts here that I could put
20
on
belts is
that would
right.
fit. I
And
don't think so.
there are some beautiful belts. Belts are very stylish too,
They
right?
are. They are. Yeah.
So,
And I
anyone
think
out there, make sure if you specialize in any of this, come be on our show.
yeah, we'd love to have you. And how do they get on the show? They have to go over to usaglobaltv.com and they can book their session there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Diane, we are at the end of our show for today. You're probably very happy to do double. And
I love talking to you. It's so
I know
much
I was
fun.
talking to you too. We have a mutual friend who's going to be on the next show. He's actually looking for someone to do the show with him, the listening mentor, our friend Hyatt.
Oh, yay, Hyatt. Make sure to say hi.
Yeah, you can pop on the show if you want. So,
Sure.
so we're going to be coming back, folks, next week, and I just want to make sure everyone is aware this is a new time. This is a new day and time for this show. So
Oh,
we're
yes.
now on Wednesdays at 11 Eastern.
11 Central, noon Eastern.
Oh, you're right. Noon Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever she said. Okay.
11 Central,
7 Central.
noon Eastern. And Dr. Jacalyn, it's because you do so many shows. And I want to just take this time to congratulate you on the launch of your new show. You are on the cutting edge of where the world is going with live streaming shows. And kudos for you for tackling such a huge job, and you're acing it.
Oh, thank you, Diane. I appreciate it. I shared this. It's just in transparency. It is a lot of work. People cannot even imagine. It's not just putting up a green screen. I mean, the rundown took me 7 hours and getting everybody together and uploading all the videos and this and that. But at the end, there was nobody there. Like who I forget who was at the end of the show, but they had dropped off, and I kind of wanted them to stay because I wanted to just, hey, and there was nobody there, and I just stood here and I had tears. But then I just said, because it was such a big initiative. But what I loved was how everybody on the team came together to support one another, and people stayed around to hear other people speak. And I know people have reached out and they're connecting. And to me, I thought, wow, aside from the platform itself and the technology, mastering all that and running the businesses, it's about the team, which I think is just, it's amazing that people from all over the world are on this team and really supporting each other.
And such high quality people you have. And yes, I enjoyed so much staying around and hearing various people. But I did think about you, Dr. Jacalyn. Truthfully, in the end, I was like, I think we all should have come back on and given you a big cheers. So, because, there's something to be said about Yes, streaming is so phenomenal how we can bring people in from around the world and they're so beautiful, but there's also something about in person because for instance, after we finish a big show and the curtain closes, we all go, yay, and we're hugging each other and you didn't get to have that. So virtual hugs to you.
Well, thank you. And, I did work at a TV station in person, and that's where I met Al. And it is a different experience. It's I'm trying to think how to explain it. There's some loneliness with that as well. It's not like a Broadway show or whatever the case is where there's a team of people. But both experiences I really appreciate, and I've learned so much from them. Also, I want to share something with you. We have a new opportunity coming out. I'm just because you were singing, I wanted to mention it. We ran part 3, The Power of Listening, yesterday with Madeline, and came up with the idea of how you do positive affirmations to a nursery rhyme. And we're gonna have people come on and do it live.
Oh, how fun is that? Quick thinkers.
When you have positive affirmation and you can put it to a tune that you remember, then it's easy to go to that when you need it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Faire Jacques, faire Jacques.
Yeah, so you would make a positive affirmation and you would put it to that song.
Yeah, isn't that cool? So everyone out there can make a positive affirmation for yourself, right?
Yes, exactly.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So, folks, we do want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV. We also would like you to book on our program if you are in the fashion, travel, and fitness industry. We'd love to hear from you. And again, we are on now Wednesdays at noon Eastern Time, 11 Central Time, 5 Greenwich Mean Time, 6 Central European Time.
Wow.
And to our friend Mariska, who's 18 hours ahead, I can't even.
New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand, 18
it's
hours.
Another day.
Yeah, it's the day after. But Diann, I'm going to put up your contact information. And if you just want to let people know the best way to reach you, that would be great.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you for everyone listening. Make sure you subscribe to us because we really want to hear from you too. And you may reach me at diannfloydboehm.com, DIANNFLOYD, B as in boy, OEHM.com. And be sure to subscribe to my newsletter so you'll always know what's going on. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you, Diann. And it was lovely seeing you twice today. And soon we'll be seeing you 3 times on a Wednesday for Talking Heads. And then tomorrow for the Corner Bookstore.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. See you again. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching and for your loyalty. And I know you can't always watch live, and I love seeing the numbers go up on the replay. So thank you for that. And please help spread the word. We are a family here at USA Global TV, and we'd love to hear from you if you're interested in certain topics that we might be able to cover for you. We've tried to go the gamut. We do have a couple of new shows coming out. We have Adversity to Awesome, which is similar to our Stories of Hope, Inspiration, Overcoming Adversity. And we also have films, books, and music. So that's going to be a different slant than the Corner Bookstore. So always creating new content and relevancy for our audience. All right, we will be coming right back after this with the Listening Mentor. And my guest today is Elevated Listener, Mr. Hyatt Ives. And maybe Diann will drop by. I don't know. I'll send you the link. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.